Plants vs Zombies 3 is alive. The wait is actually over. Popcap have officially announced PvZ3 will be making a return. So last night an absolute bombshell of an article was published on the Plants vs Zombies 2 website that essentially re-announced Plants vs Zombies 3 and gave us a pretty lengthy Q&A that goes into detail about what we can expect. But before we dive into the details, let's take a look at this image that was posted with the article, which looks absolutely awesome and as you can tell looks completely different from the original PvZ3 we saw initially. There are a number of things on here that I could talk about at length, but with this just being an overview video, let's just talk about the most exciting things. Number one, we have the logo. Now for me, I think this was one of the most fascinating things because as you can see, the logo is no longer the simplified new Battle for Neighborville style. They have actually returned to their roots, pardon the pun, and have gone with something very similar to the original Plants vs Zombies logo. Like what? This is certainly nothing I was expecting to have changed. This to me tells me they have made some very significant changes indeed. This will become clearer when we discuss the article shortly. The second thing to discuss is the art style, as this clearly looks very different as well. Now, given this is a piece of concept art, it probably doesn't truly reflect the style, but it does give us a good idea, especially when you look at the original PvZ3 poster and you compare it to the gameplay. It certainly resembled it quite closely, i.e. the poster showed 3D and the gameplay was also 3D. Now, there's already been some gameplay posted online and I can confirm they have gone back to a more 2D art style, but I'd probably say it's more like 2.5D. So that's the image. Now let's get into the article, and there's quite a lot here. If you want to take a look at this yourself, there is a link in the description. Now I don't want to bore you and read all of this, so I'm going to take out the main points and discuss them, but I do want to read the opening statement, which says, "Welcome back to the lawn. I'm Matt Townsend, head botanist of the Plants vs Zombies team. On behalf of Popcap Games, the creators of Plants vs Zombies, we're proud to announce that Plants vs Zombies 3 is entering limited testing in selected territories where we'll be focusing on gameplay. Since hearing your feedback, we've gone back to our roots to make sure we are growing a garden every neighborvillian can be proud of, and this limited test is our first step in building a new and improved neighborville in PvZ3. So there you go, PvZ3 is back, and by the sounds of it, there's going to be a real emphasis on going back to their roots and what people really love about Plants vs Zombies. I really like that they have seemed to have made a change in direction, rather than being like, we have to be new and change loads of stuff to keep the game fresh and relevant. Instead, they have just said, let's step back and just do what we're good at and what the community is telling us they want. This includes things like, number one, sunflower is back. That's right, one of the most disliked part of the previous iteration was that the devs removed the ability to plant sunflowers and the sun just generated automatically, but they have confirmed this has now been removed. Number two, lawnmowers are also making a return, however they do put in brackets at least until they run out of power, which obviously is different but could add something else you need to be aware of when going through the levels. Number three, we are heading back to the lawn. Whilst yes, you did have the lawn initially in the original PvZ3, but they did seem to be emphasising that they want to capture the classic experience we love and bring it to the modern mobile experience. But it also explains you will be defending and restoring Neighborville, so I expect there will be still a number of different locations you can travel to throughout the game. So that's a lot of the big things checked off about the game itself, but let's talk about the early testing and open beta that you guys can actually get involved with right now. Currently the game is available on the Australia and Philippines Google Play Store for a limited amount of time. In terms of requirements, it says you will need an Android Galaxy S6 tier device with Android 7 or higher and 2 GB of RAM. There are already a couple of APKs floating around. As you know, the PvZ community seem to be great at finding and distributing files of early access games. Now, for those of you who are wondering about a release date for the full game, well, as you'd expect, although the game will be going into a beta-like stage, they have stated they are far from a set date. So my assumption is they're going to see what the feedback is like, very much like how they did with the original version, and just sort of go from there. Overall, guys, like what the hell? We just had those animation leaks last week, which we thought was the end for Plants vs Zombies 3. And then boom, out of nowhere, Popcap was like, surprise, PvZ3 is back, suckers! Also, thank you to all of those who let me know about this news. Like, I literally jumped out of bed, ran to the studio, and immediately started working on this video. I'm honestly so excited for this, and by the sounds of it, they are making some really positive changes to the game. Anyway guys, there you go, some really awesome news for Plants vs Zombies as a whole. As you'd expect, I'll be keeping a very close eye on this and will be sure to keep you up to date with all things PvZ3. As usual, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below, but other than that, don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons, turn on notifications, and if you want to support the channel further, check out my Patreon page by clicking on screen now or through the link in the description. Okay, thanks guys, bye.